Oh, shit. We're late. We are live, but we are late. We are late live, and it's... I got a great show for you. What's going on, y'all? Today is Thursday, the 16th of May, and we got a great show for you. We're going to open up with some of my own music today. Yeah, this is the cheeseburger song. Or not. If it plays. There it goes.
As not mentioning cheeseburgers and french fries again, and all of a sudden we're back on deck. Ready to go. Ready to go.
On a cheeseburger.
Delicious.
Cheeseburger.
Because that's what we like to do. Is eat
Cheeseburger.
But we don't even fuck where we even sing it to. So you don't get no motherfucking cheeseburger. We don't care about you enough to play a tune. So that's how it's gonna go down today.
We got a great show for you guys today. We're gonna be looking at Joe Biden accepted 2 debates. Oh, what? Yeah, and he made a really cringy video. Some crazy shit's going on in the Philippines right now. It could get weird over there.
The business, everything else, except for we do the girls. It's fucking funny. But in the meantime, we don't mind to spin here and make some beats and make a run. So,
We got the Dow Jones.
If I can figure out.
Hit a new all-time high at 40,000 and then retraced. I wouldn't be counting your chickens before they hatch on that one. Geoengineering experiment in California has been canceled, but the poison spraying program in Ohio has just kicked off. We're gonna find out about that. Russia intensifies its attacks in Ukraine.
Cheeseburger time.
Let me go.
Alright, we're gonna cheeseburger it. We gonna eat all the cheeseburgers we get. We ain't gonna stop until we go out with fries. With some ketchup and some mayonnaise on the side.
We're going to be finding out about the future of laser warfare. Yes, laser warfare. We are in that phase of technology.
On the side of my fries. I wanna keep the
Ultra-processed foods is linked to death. Who's surprised?
The side of my fries. That's the only way.
Maybe there's aliens. I don't know. We might talk about that. Some interesting new observations out in the universe.
Gonna reside. Here we go. We here in the basement, eating all the hamburgers that we can get.
And of course, we got the press secretary. She's gonna be coming out whenever it's equitable for her.
Put some onions, make us all smile. We got French fries straight from the grease. They're the best French fries that you could eat. Ketchup for them motherfuckers. We even got a little mayonnaise on the side. Side of my fry. That's where the fuck the mayonnaise resides. I put it on the side of my fry. That's the fucking place where the mayonnaise dies. Here we go, Paige.
There's no auto girls out there. They definitely want mayonnaise on something. Whatever that reference.
What's going on, y'all? It's me, Space McG, your favorite cartoon nerd with the news, and we're back at it again, doing the thing that we do.
Otherwise, Everybody wants to fucking.
What we do here every day, you know how it is.
Some French fries.
We got a great little crowd starting to form out here. Who we got out here? We got Hillbilly Homesteader 1776. Yes. Yes. He's a great guy, but he's an enemy to chickens, ladies and gentlemen. We got Panda. What's going on, Panda? Panda is in this motherfucker. That's right. We got Girl Gone Dog. Yeah, I saw your new puppy. Let's see. I also saw your motorcycle. Let's see here. I got motherfucking Ronnie Braun up in this motherfucker. What's up? We got Birdseye. Oh baby indeed. We got Frank Totten all up in this bitch. What's up, Frank? Some Cheech and Chong vibes. Oh, thank you, buddy. Usi Kiwi up on this motherfucker. What's up, Usi? We got. Oh. That's about it. Oh, yeah. So, what's up? Yeah, we got a great show for you. Oh, we're going to turn that music down right there. All right. Yeah. So what's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a good day. I know I am. I'm actually high as shit, bro. I've been smoking this blonde hash. Big shout out to my homie Dope Keys with the blonde hash. You fucking motherfucker. All right. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm fucking nice and toasty. And that's in more ways than one, because it's like about 90 fucking degrees in this van right now. Yeah, so, yeah, the Dow, right? We look right here. What we'll see is that at approximately 10:45 a.m., the Dow Jones broke $40,000. That's amazing. That the Dow has increased over 10 times in my lifetime. That is amazing. Amazing. But then it quickly retraced. So now, let's see here. We have a peak here at, let's go ahead, if we can just get on it, 40.40. Then 40.43, right? Not quite a double top. But we'll see how that pans out. Now, and then we have an obvious decline and a retrace back down towards the opening bell. And it's, as we can see right here, before it went up, as always, as is customary, it went down, of course. So it started off basically at a loss, right? And then climbed up to here, and now it's back in retreat, right? And now we're going to read some shit about that. First, we're just going to check on everyone's favorite gaslighting moron, Karine Jean. Karine Jean, yeah. Karine Jean's going to be coming out. But first, we're just going to go into this. Dow Jones Industrial Average tops 40,000 for the first time. Yeah, well, when it's all said and done on the chart, right, it may look like that today was a loss. We still have 3 hours roughly. So, yeah. So that it may wind up being a loss for today. Yeah, let's see here. I'm very chipper, indeed. I'm quite toasty. You know what I mean? Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average crossed 40,000 for the first time, a milestone that appeared implausible a little more than 2 years ago. Yeah, well, but did it? Because if it ends today at a loss, it gets erased, right? We'll never talk about it. We'll never speak about it again. It's only the closing that we count, right? In the long-term charts, right? So, if it goes below the opening bell, then it will not have crossed 40,000, right? Gloom and doom forecasts abounded when the central bank ended the era of ultra-low rates that prevailed in the years following the global financial crisis. Economists predicted painful consequences, a U.S. recession and rising unemployment. And we did technically have a recession. If you guys remember, we had negative growth for 2 quarters consecutively, and somehow the White House was able to talk their way out of that counting as a recession. Yet, so that didn't count as a recession, right? Because it was all COVID, right? It was aftershocks from COVID, right? Yet the recovered jobs that Joe Biden supposedly created, which he didn't, they were just recovered from COVID, right? Those supposedly recovered jobs, they want to count, but they don't, but then they want, you know what I mean? Right? You can't have it both ways, right? You can't get a mulligan on a recession because of COVID, of aftershocks of COVID, and count the jobs that are the aftershocks of COVID, right? You can't do both, right? You don't get a mulligan. Oh, we're not doing well. Looks like something, there we go. No. Yeah, there we go. We're balanced out. Okay, yeah, you don't get a mulligan and get to take credit for the results of the aftershocks, right? Like, you don't get to say all the benefits of the COVID aftershocks. You know, those are totally because of me, right? Like all the jobs going up, all the recovered jobs being added back to the economy. That's all because of me. But the recession that was caused by the loss in GDP after the recovery, oh, no. That's not my fault, right? The Trump vaccine, indeed. Now, this is hilarious. This article is hilarious because they're saying, like, let the good times roll, right? When in reality, those gains are gone, right? We are now, right? When it opened, it traded up, right? We're now past the opening of the bell, right? So we are, according to this, we're only up 15 points, right? But, yeah, so this is going to be a net loss for the day, right? And maybe a signal for worse things to come. Now, the Dow has soared nearly 40% from its low in September of 2022 and more than doubled since the spring of 2020. Go Joe Biden. Yeah, so when this big crash that's about to happens, right, Joe Biden is not going to want to take accountability for it, right? But in reality, they're going to come out today and say, wow, look at the Dow. It crossed 40,000 points, right? Like, Karine's going to come out here and say these things, right? Just as the Dow goes into negative territory. Watch, right? Okay. Yeah, but so they're over here acting like this is the greatest thing since Jesus Christ, right? And it's not. This is the pump, right? We're about to see a dump, right? That's my prediction. My prediction is this thing's about to go, right? We may go down to 35,000 points by the end of the month. You know, probably, but I'm almost certain it's going to go down, right? Now, so here they are. That article is touting this 40,000 on the Dow as like a big thing, but as we can see, those gains have already been lost. We're now almost back into the pit right here, right? When we go into that pit, we're not getting out of it, right? That's the end. That's the end of this run, We're at the end of this run. That is the final fuck you before they dump it, right? I'm almost certain of that. Right? And if you just kind of want to see why, right? 1 year, right? We're up 20% over the last year. But if we go over the last 5 years, we're up 14,150%. What? That's not right. No. 54.93%. So we're up 50% over the last 5 years, right? I'm just saying, it's... Right? And, like, here... Right? This is, like, the last good times before it crashed again, right? At 36,000. That's what I'm saying. We're going to break below that 36,000. Watch. Right? We're going to go down to here. We're going to retest somewhere around in here. Right? I believe it's going to 28,000. Right? I think that's because that was that 28,000 is an important number. Right? Right? So that's over by the end of the year, the beginning of next year, we would have seen this 28,000 number. Or stockpiling before war, Frank Totten says. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is that when you build up your war supplies, it looks like a recession, right? Because you go from manufacturing commercial products to manufacturing things for the government, right? Right? Like, so, right? And it looks, when you do that, it looks like you're in a recession. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right about that. We back. Maybe. I don't know. What happened? Okay, it's all good. Whoa. Back, man. It's all good, man. All right. Yeah. So, yeah. It's already in negative for the day. Right now. It's already gone below negative. We're down 0.0. Yeah. Just as I predicted would happen, happened already. The press secretary hasn't even come out yet. And like I told you, right? It will be negative for the day, and it is already. Now, Biden and Trump will debate in June and September, but the terms have changed. Yeah, right. Yeah, Biden wants to act like a hard ass, right? Let's just watch that video first. So here's Biden. He wants to act like a hard ass. Let's watch.
President Biden is challenging former...
Daddy likey. Oh, we have the press secretary coming out. Who is this woman? Fox 32 Chicago. Daddy likey. All right, okay, guys, make sure you guys stick around to the end. I have a lot of news, a lot of important news. I spent too much time on the...
Wait, for I don't want to call her out, but...
Hey, look, it's Grape Drink. That's her new nickname, Grape Drink. Grape Drink. Grape Drink! All right, let's go.
Madam President, that's right. To be good. Not call out people. All right, good afternoon.
Grape
As
drink.
President Biden said during his campaign, no one should be in jail for using or possessing marijuana.
Yes. I agree. Nobody should be in jail for marijuana, Grape Drink.
That's why in 2022, President Biden requested that DOJ and HHS review how marijuana law. Today, the administration is taking a major step toward reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3, drug under federal law. If
What does that mean?
finalized, marijuana will no longer hold the higher level classification it currently holds over fentanyl and meth, drugs driving our nation's overdose epidemic. And it will remove burdensome, long-standing barriers to critical research. This announcement builds on the work President Biden has already done.
Oh,
to
so
burden
basically,
a record number of federal offenses.
what does it
for
take it down
simply
to? A
Possessing
misdemeanor?
marijuana. His categorical pardon for federal offenses of simple possession in October 2022 and December 2023 lifted barriers to housing, small business loans, and more for thousands of Americans. The reality is, while white, black, and brown people
Hold on. Things are not doing what they're supposed to do. Hold on. There we go. We're better now. Let's go.
use marijuana rates, black and arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. The president's act.
What the fuck? I don't know what's happening. It's being a butthead. Ah, what's up, Panda? Fucking up. I'm trying. Hold on. Stick with me. Don't go. It's transgender glowies. I mean, there probably are transgender glowies, but are the glowies getting me? Are they glowing still? Let's see. We're coming back. We got green bars. Hey, I have green bars. Hey, everything looks good. All right, let's go. Sorry.
Actions today further his commitment to reverse long-standing injustices and to right historic wrongs. Next, I want to talk about as part of our series of engagements this week, we are marking the 70th anniversary of the landmark Supreme Court decision Brown v. Board of Education. Today, President Biden met with plaintiffs and their family members at the White House. Among those the president met with include Adrian
Hey,
James
what's up,
Bennett,
blind dude?
a plaintiff in one of the original cases, Boiling v. Sharp, that was argued alongside Brown v. Board. And
Yeah,
Sarah
I
Brown
deserve it.
Henderson,
I
one of
deserve
the
it.
daughters
I deserve to have
of
likes
the,
removed.
Of the lead plaintiff, Oliver L. Brown, in the Brown v. Board. The delegation represents
Sometimes you gotta
litigants
fuck up,
from
I don't
five
know.
cases that were combined under Brown v. Board of Education and heard before the Supreme Court, as well as the NAACP President Derek Johnson and other leaders of the NAACP were critical in fighting for these and other hard-won freedoms for Black Americans. The president was proud to participate in this meeting and honor the legacy of those who paved the way for
gotta
progress
pave the way with
and
Black
hard-fought
people, guys.
rights for Black Americans.
You gotta
while
pave the
highlighting
way
his
with Black
vision
people.
for how we must continue to build on these freedoms. Joining us today, as you can see from my right, to say more and make some news about this administration's work to advance racial equity and opportunity for Black
God.
Americans, a senior advisor to the president and director of the
Oh, God, it's going to be one of these meetings. Huh. Great. See, what it is that Joe Biden is decisively losing Black people's support, right? And so he wants to pave the way with Black people. Let's go.
Office of Public Engagement, the former mayor of Columbia, South Carolina, Mayor Steve Benjamin. Thank you so much for coming again.
All right.
Podium is yours.
Karine, thank you so much. Thank you, my friend. I I miss being mayor, y'all. I think it was a much simpler existence at times. Today at the White House, as Karine mentioned, we're recognizing, commemorating the 70th anniversary of the landmark Supreme Court decision, Brown versus.
I bet this guy likes his chitlins. I bet you this guy is always eating beans and rice. You know what I'm saying?
Board of Education becoming the law.
This motherfucker looks like he could eat about a whole pack of hot dogs.
Discrimination.
I'm talking like the one with 48 hot dogs in it.
President Biden and Vice President Harris will continue.
This motherfucker could eat 48 hot dogs
to honor the legacy of those who paved the way for progress and hard-fought rights for African Americans. This morning he met with the plaintiffs and their families, as Karine mentioned, in the Oval Office. During the meeting, he commended them for changing our nation for the better. And committed to continue his fight to move us closer to the promise of America. Families from each of the 5 different cases that were consolidated in Brown v. Board were present
right?
today.
Why are they talking? Isn't Joe Biden the one guy who worked to keep school districts segregated? Like, wasn't Joe? Like, why are they celebrating Brown versus the Board of Education when Joe Biden himself was against it, right? Like, isn't this like the most like shameless? Are we back? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Shit's not working right today, man. I don't fucking know. It's pissing me off. Yeah, this is pissing me off. Okay, we'll keep trying, but if it keeps doing this, I'm going to say fuck it, right? Because I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to ruin your guys' day. I'm sorry.
To confer upon the president an honorary degree.
Yeah, I feel you, Steve.
President Biden and Vice President Harris, who also, as we all know, serves as the very first HBCU graduate, first to serve as Vice President of the United States, they know firsthand the value of HBCUs, and I'm proud and very pleased to announce today that the Biden-Harris administration has invested more than $16 billion in historically black colleges and universities, which is unprecedented, a record amount.
Yeah, well, they're just trying to upstage Donald Trump, who spent, I think, like $10 billion or something like that, funding the black universities for like umpteen years, something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was a lot.
President Biden has also canceled $160 billion in student loans for over 4 million Americans, providing significant relief to all borrowers with significant impact on black borrowers. Increase the amount of maximum Pell Grant.
Why is the student loans harder on black people than it is on white people? I'm just saying. I have student loans, and they just keep going up. The amount of money I owe just keeps going up.
As well by $900, the largest increase in a decade.
That's probably because I'm not paying it.
Students from low and middle income backgrounds pursue their dreams of a post-secondary
education. The plan is that if Bubble is
Nearly
successful, I'll just pay off all my student loans in one go. That's the idea.
Of African Americans.
That's like the payout. That's like the minimum threshold for success for my project, is that it pays for my student loans.
And students are federal financial aid recipients, with an average award of nearly $5,000 per student. This is only a snapshot
of what
this administration has delivered as President Biden and Vice President Harris have leveraged the full force of the federal government to advance racial justice and build economic opportunity.
Advance racial justice, huh? Like Joe Biden did when he called black people predators and made it a crime for someone to carry less than a gram of fucking crack. Like, that's like 10 years in 5 years in jail. But his son Hunter, right, can get caught with ounces of crack and get pretrial diversion, right? Right. And yeah. And while Hunter Biden is smoking fucking grams of crack, right, like every minute, Joe Biden is writing legislation to put black people in jail, right? No one has done more to hurt black people that is still in government than Joe Biden.
Opportunity since their first day in office. As a result of their leadership, black
called
household
them
family wealth is
predators.
up 60%.
He said that these thugs shouldn't be able to be free on the streets to beat up your grandmother. Something like that.
More than 2.5 million jobs have been created for African Americans. And in 2023, we hit the lowest black unemployment data on record. And that remains consistently low, as we've seen across the country. Unemployment under 4% for the entire nation for 27 months.
Kosher salt is good, Uzi. You don't like motherfucking pretzels? Kosher salt is good salt. It's good to put on pretzels. It's very salty.
Running. Very happy to be here with you. More than happy.
Because the Jews are a salty people.
Questions, I think.
Thank you so much for being here. So you recently met with students and faculty at Morehouse College. Can you just talk to us
Your
about
wife has been blocked from paying her COVID loans? What? Her student loans because of COVID? What? That's crazy, Frank.
concerns they shared and how you responded?
Okay, we're going to skip all this bullshit.
It's so
don't care
important
about
to realize
racism.
that opinion really.
They can be as racist as they want. This is
amazing
America.
success.
You have that right.
The last several months. This is consistent with the president's very clear commitment.
Oh yeah, the president's been consistent and clear. He's
And they've been
clearly
leading, from the
consistent
front
at
as
fucking
I go through
up.
those issues, and it did it last
Fuck
Friday
Joe
with
Biden,
those amazing
indeed.
Young leaders. Heads were nodding. People were very much appreciative of receiving the information, and I know we're planning to go out and share it with others.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to circle back to the meeting today in the Oval Office. The people who were there with President Biden came out
There's
and spoke with us
Steve
briefly
Ducey in the
afterwards,
front.
and a few of them mentioned the work
Blonde
that
and
still
tall.
needs to be done and how schools are still, in many parts of the country, still effectively segregated. Did the president have anything to say about that in terms of continuing work, and did he respond to the parent ask that a holiday be made out of the anniversary of the Brown?
The president has worked hard over his career to guarantee that those rich schools will stay segregated. Like, that's what the president did. That's what his big thing was when he got into office.
That request came up in our meeting before the meeting as well from one of the families of the litigants. It's important to note that the first major national holiday established in decades is Juneteenth. The president, that's his legislation.
Joe Biden was a terrible fucking senator. He wrote some of the most heinous laws, like the 93 crime bill, the restructuring of bankruptcy. Joe Biden is the reason why we have a student loan crisis in the first place. He wrote the legislation that made it impossible for you to declare bankruptcy on your student loans. Yeah. So now he's trying to forgive all of the problem that he caused, right? Not only that, but Joe Biden, is the reason that schools never fully integrated, right? Because Joe Biden fought integration of schools because he didn't want his son to become a crackhead growing up in a racial jungle.
Of the Emmett Till and Mamie Till Mobley
And
Memorial.
he failed at that. Joe Biden literally failed at everything. Right? Tried to keep his son from becoming a crackhead drug addict by keeping black people out of his school, and that didn't work for him. And now his son is literally a crackhead.
In Illinois and Mississippi, also because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's leadership, the passing of the Emmett Till and
Yeah,
lynching
he's
bill.
also
Even
behind zero
some
tolerance.
Of the tough things,
yeah, but now he says nobody should be in prison for marijuana when he wrote the laws that put people in prison for marijuana. Right? You can't make this stuff up, guys. But apparently Joe Biden is trying really hard. He's trying, boy.
left to do. Hopefully, the passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act someday.
Oh, the
keeps
George-
the elements of
The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. If you assist a criminal at murdering themselves by swallowing their dope, you go to prison for murder. That's what happened.
That those bills are part of the president's executive order as it relates to federal law enforcement agencies. In his conversation, and I'm not sure, one of the speakers they may have mentioned, the president also talked to her mother, a 103-year-old litigant, as well by phone. There's an acknowledgement every day with our president that we're not where we ought to be, but we're certainly not where we used to be. And every moment you have to.
Yeah,
but this president has also been very
end.
intentional over the course of
All
his
right,
career.
we're live now
and
with
certainly
them.
his presidency to always make sure he makes time to go to HBCUs. He delivered
Lucy
the
says
commencement
even
address
Joe
at Howard,
Biden's dogs hate
last
him.
year. He's been at the SC State's commencement address. He's
That's
obviously
absolutely
spoke
true,
to the
by the
president
way.
of Delaware State, where
Joe Biden
President
is a
will tell
terrible
you that he
person.
got his political start decades ago. Spoke to Dr. Allen today, and obviously it's special to him, and he realizes that not only a speech, but more importantly, the $16 billion in resources to support this amazingly talented group of young leaders, that he doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk.
Oh, this is so boring. Can we
A question
please have
on- a
fucking
question on
grape
the
drink
Oahu
back?
meeting, and then wanted to follow up on something else. You said, had the president met with the families involved in the Delaware case prior to today's Oval Office meeting, or was this his first time meeting them?
You know, it
Oh
was
my
interesting,
God.
and obviously this is my first time in the same space with each of them, and he spent a significant
Remember, we
amount
skipped
of
a
time
lot
with
of
the
this,
Delaware
guys.
families. One of the ladies, a daughter of one of the litigants, indicated that the president had spent several moments on their couch over the course of his career. So he was very familiar
Let's
with the case.
check in on the
He
Dow
knows the
Jones.
case, but he engaged with the families in the past.
And then on the question of enthusiasm for the president in the African American community, what do you chalk that
African-American
lethargy up to?
You know, I will tell you again. I can only speak, Francesca, to my
Wow.
to my experience. And when I get out
Yeah,
there
oh, yeah.
and we talk to
It's
people
down even
about
more
the
now.
amazing successes
It just keeps
of
going
the
down.
administration under the leadership
Just
of
like
the
I
president, vice
predicted.
president. People are psyched. I mean,
Everything is going
they're happy about these meaningful,
just like I prescribed.
developments that are helping change the lives of people all across this country. We got to make sure, and that's a campaign job. Our job here is making sure we share the news, and hopefully
that
in partnership with
40,000
each
is
and every
gonna
one
get
of you,
erased.
that the news gets out to all the places in this very different world in which we live, in which people receive their news. So. I'm looking over there. Can you not get the third question, Francis?
Well, no, I just wanted to ask, are you saying that you distrust the polling that shows the
she's
president's
kinda
support
cute.
among the African American community is lower than it was this time 4 years ago, for instance?
I can
Kinda
honestly
cute.
tell you that I don't follow the polls.
I'm your vision. Brown v. Board not only ended separate but equal, but it was a reverberation for the civil rights movement. Similarly, there's a different movement happening after the Supreme Court ruling in Harvard versus Student for Fair Admissions and with affirmative action that has created this sort of seemingly this anti-DEI, anti-equity movement that has impacted schools, businesses, and even this administration's ability to implement some of its policies. Does the president believe that he has leaned in enough on this issue, and how much can we expect him to speak to that in
Come on, man.
speech?
All right, we're back.
Well, he has one speech tomorrow at the NAACP, and then obviously he has several speeches this weekend. The president's unapologetic about not only the principle of equity being a core value to him,
The
but also
equity.
his
Look at how good
administration
equity is doing.
to make sure.
We have a Secretary of Transportation, aircraft controllers. We have a press secretary that literally cannot answer a question or come up with an answer that's not in her book. We have a vice president. Oh, God damn it. We have a vice president that's a laughingstock, right? Is like the laughingstock of the world, right? Our vice president. Our president is the laughing stock of the world, right? Right? And yeah, all of that because of our military's a joke too, because of equity and inclusion and diversity and what's the other word? Intersectionality.
Or that consistent with his
And
very first
gender
executive
identity.
order, that every piece of policy and that comes out of the administration.
Right? We used to train our kids that it was an honor to go and defend America's values like individuality, right? Values like free market capitalism, values like Western culture, right? Right? And those were things that people were willing to die for, right? But now we value homosexuality and transgenderism and fucking autism spectrums or whatever the fuck they want to call it, right? And what a shock. Nobody wants to go and die for that. It's amazing. It's amazing, right? That nobody wants to die to defend butt fucking, right?
Administration, as well as each of the cornerstone laws and acts, the Infrastructure Bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, the CHIPS Bill, and also the American Rescue Plan.
What is
that
African
each of
American
those,
community?
pillars,
It's not community between
have
Africa
same
and the
core of equity, and
USA,
it's led to a record
nor
amount of
among
contracting. I think
themselves.
$76 billion
I think when
this
they
past
say
year for,
African American
small
community,
minority-owned businesses,
they
record
mean
amounts
ghetto
in the Black
culture.
community and the
They
Latino
mean rap
community,
culture.
as well.
Amongst the thugs.
So he's not stepping back on his commitment to equity and continues to lead in and expects his administration to do the same.
Okay, go ahead, Ebony. We got the last question.
Okay, I want to follow up on just two comments. One, you just mentioned the 76 billion in contracts for minority businesses. But can you talk about what that looks like for
billion
Black
in
businesses
contracts
specifically?
for minority businesses. Guys, that's literal racism, right? When you exclude people from bid contracts because they're white, that's racism, right? And not only that, I'm pretty sure it almost, if not completely historically, will guarantee lower quality, right? Because you're excluding some of the better companies, I would think. Some of the more established and proven companies, right?
12.1 billion.
12.1
Let's just
billion.
skip it.
We aren't.
Skip.
All right?
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
Yay!
Thank you. Okay.
Hey, what's up? Be happy?
Oh, wait, let's give him a second.
Yes, it's illegal.
All right.
Two topics, if I may.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Karine Jean, also known as Grape Drink. Grape Drink!
First, President Biden decided to block the release of the audio of his interview with the special counsel, and obviously the letter from the White House counsel laid out the reasons about the concerns of being used for political purposes. But that seems to imply that the White House is concerned that these could be politically damaging. So why not just release them, especially with this White House's commitment to transparency?
Well, for one, the transcripts, as you all know, is already out there. I think the second piece of this, too, to note is that the Attorney General made it clear that law enforcement files like these need to be protected. And so the president made his determination at the request of the Attorney General. So just want to make that second point that I made really clear. The Department of Justice and the White House counsel's office have provided extensive written letters, as you all know. I'm sure some of you have read this on this issue. And like I said, that you have seen. And so so when it comes to anything further or any specifics, obviously I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House counsel's
Busy
office.
grape drink.
But those are the, just to make that,
Girl gone dog
that second
for the
point
win.
again very clear.
No,
This was
you
taken
out- you
by
out-
determination,
you
President took
outbested me.
determination at the request of the Attorney General, and wanted to make sure, the Attorney General wanted to make sure that that law enforcement files like these must be protected.
But does the White House feel that the recording, the audio, could be politically harmful, since that point was also raised in the letter?
So I don't want to dive into the specific point that you're making about the politics. I would have to refer you to our counsel's office on that. But there were determination that the president took very seriously on behalf of
he takes it seriously,
the
guys.
request of the attorney general, and that's how this decision was
So
made.
blacks drive cars differently? Yeah, well, I mean, blacks are literally afraid of computers, guys. So, of course they can't operate modern cars, right? According to the Democrats, right? That's why they want to pave the way with black people.
On the shooting of the Slovakian prime minister, I know the president released a statement yesterday, but now that it looks more and more clear that it appears to have been a politically motivated attack, I was wondering if the White House had more to say on that front of those potential motivations.
So don't want to go beyond what I said here at the lectern yesterday. Obviously, we wish him a speedy recovery. Don't want to get beyond that. And
Politically motivated.
He's
Who
doing
are they talking about?
He's doing better.
Thanks, Karine. Just to follow up on what Sungmin was asking for, Speaker Mike Johnson said that President Biden is, quote, apparently afraid for citizens to hear his interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur. How is the White House responding
I
to
would
that?
say the transcripts are already out there. They've been out there. They have been released to the public. The public has an opportunity to hear directly from the president and or to read and what exactly the president said. The attorney general made it clear that law enforcement.
Yeah, but we want to see the video of Biden fumbling and stumbling for 14 hours to answer 14 questions, right? We want to see the video of how many times he lies, right?
Enforcement files like these need to be protected, and that's the determination that was made. Anything further, anything specifics, I certainly would refer you to my colleagues, but that was a determination that was made. And again, anything more to that, I would refer you to my colleagues.
You talked about the transcripts being released, but as you know, hearing something and reading it is very different. And if the transcript is already out there, why is it different to have the audio there?
Like I said, there were determinations that was made by the president.
No, the determination is that if those videos were ever shown to the public, it would be an embarrassment on the president. That's what it is.
Request of the attorney general. And so we took that very seriously. The president took that very.
The attorney general hired by Biden to do his dirty work and fucking arrest the former president of the United States so that he can't win the election.
Very seriously. And so that's what I would say to your question.
Just one more question on another topic, with Xi Jinping meeting with Vladimir Putin at the summit in Beijing. They pledged to deepen their strategic partnership. What is the U.S. assessment of the current Russia-China relationship?
So I know that there was a statement, obviously that was a joint statement that was put out. Look, we don't see anything new here. I will reiterate what I said yesterday, which was we find it unacceptable that Chinese companies are helping Putin wage this war against Ukraine. We've been very clear about that. And if China purports to support peace in Europe, it cannot continue to fuel the biggest threat of the European security. And that's not just coming from us. It's coming from NATO, the EU, the G7 partners. They put out statement about this as well. So, look, the statement is nothing new. It's more of the same. And we've been very clear where we stand on this.
I'd like to follow up on that, actually. You said the statement is nothing new. It was pretty anti-American. I mean, whether it's new or not, is it concerning to the White House?
Look, we don't see anything new with this. We've seen this before. I get the point that you're making. We've seen this type of bilateral statement from those two countries. We have been very clear about this, and it's not just us. You've heard from the EU, you've heard from the G7 partners, you've heard from NATO, look, we have been all of the allies and partners that I just mentioned. We've been very clear on making
That's
sure
what the B
that
stands for,
we do
baby.
everything that we can
baby.
to give the brave people of Ukraine who are fighting Putin's aggression the security assistance that they need. And that's why it was so important to get that national security supplemental. You heard us announce $1 billion on the day that it became law, that national security supplemental to
Ashley
get that funding
Biden.
out. You heard from
Quit taking inappropriate showers with your father. You're making him look bad, Ashley.
Secretary Blinken, who was
that's what Joe Biden would say. Hey, she wanted to take the shower with me.
It's
her fault. Ashley's wrong, not me.
In Ukraine.
I'm a good father.
Talked about giving more of that security assistance. So we've all been clear. These two bilateral relationship, obviously they stand out.
She came on to me
as to countries who are, as I said, put out the statement. But that is not the position, not just the position of the U.S. They heard it from G7, NATO, the EU. We've been very, very clear about that, and we're going to continue to stand by Ukraine as they fight for their freedom.
Fuck
and fight
Ukraine.
for their democracy.
Does this White House
Ukraine asshole. They stole all of our money, guys. Did you guys know that?
/ does the United States have any leverage to dissuade China from supporting Russia as much as it is?
Look, I mean, we've been very clear publicly, we've been very clear privately, and we'll continue to do that.
If you had been clear, they wouldn't have these questions, Karine. Karine Jean, there's one thing that you are not. That's intelligent, but also clear.
My question, Lee, saying you've been very clear, what kind of leverage do you have to change this?
Here's what I say, Jeff. When you have the EU, you have the G7, you have NATO, all saying what we are saying right now, which is we're going to protect or continue to help Ukraine defend itself.
With what? They're literally putting 50-year-old men up against fucking Russian tanks with like sticks.
That says a lot. We're talking about partners and allies here who mount a pretty strong force here in saying that we're going to continue to.
Yeah, but that would mean that what you're saying is you want to put NATO troops on the ground? Is that what I'm hearing? That's what it sounds like. You're threatening that we're going to invade Ukraine. That's what I hear.
To support Ukraine. I mean, I think that says what you need to.
We have a large force willing to support Ukraine. Did this bitch just say we're sending troops into fucking Ukraine?
No.
There's just nothing more you can do about China.
I mean, look, I'm not going to talk about bilateral relationship. I said this yesterday. What I can speak is to what we've reiterated over and over again is that it is unacceptable for Chinese companies and how they're helping Putin wage this war against Ukraine. We've been pretty clear about that. But the fact that this.
Yeah, but what about how we're helping Ukraine wage this war against a Russian territory that voted to join Russia? Right? That's actually what's happening here, Karen. Right? And as much as you want to say it's not, in the end, those people voted to be part of Russia. You want to respect democracy, well then respect their right to vote on what country they want to be a part of, right? And then this war is over. If you respect their right to be part of the country that they want to be a part of, then the war is over. Isn't that weird?
President that has been able to bring NATO to.
But that would actually be protecting democracy, and instead of supporting a murderous dictator who's filled up many of those mass graves himself. They bomb their own civilians, right? They hunt down anyone that talks bad and calls them spies, and the rest they try to coerce into the military, right? Ukraine is a hellhole. I wouldn't want to live there, right? There's no democracy in Ukraine. There's no elections. There's first fucking inscription at the barrel of a gun. We've watched this on this channel before.
Together, right? Been able to make NATO the more stronger than it's ever been. That's important to bring more than 50 countries together in order to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to fight against Putin's war. That says a lot. That says a lot about this.
Is that true, Frank?
And that says a lot about where other countries are. I mean, our partners and allies came together in support of Ukraine, and we're going to continue to do so.
Thank you, Karine. Republican Senator Mitt Romney said in an interview overnight that he believes that President Biden should have pardoned his predecessor from federal charges. And Romney argued that it's now been a win-win for Trump in his campaign and in his public profile that he's been able to use these charges to his benefit.
I'm not going to speak to pardons.
Yeah, it's because Donald Trump wins. No matter what you do to him, you arrest him, guess what? He goes up in the polls, right? You bring in a horse-faced prostitute to slander him, he goes up in the polls, right? Right? You charge him with something that's not a crime, guess what happens? Guess what happens? Donald Trump goes up in the polls, right? You threaten him to put him in prison with a gag order, and he tells you that you can suck his dick, and he goes up in the polls as he pays $10,000 in fines. Right? Yes. Yes. That's because you people are terrible at what you do.
Here, I'm just not, especially for a candidate for a 2024 election. I'm just not.
Usi says Ukraine's voting system is almost as good as the U.S. Yeah, it's only slightly more fascistic. I know, right?
Obviously a presidential power.
I'm just not going to speak about it from here.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics yesterday released inadvertently some CPI data 30 minutes before they were supposed to. Came a month after.
Only 60,000 for their rebar encrusted tanks. That doesn't sound. That sounds pretty economical.
Economists have been talking to Wall Street firms, and a couple years after there was some suspicious trading activity. So I'm wondering what level of concern you guys have, how confident you are in the BLS leadership, and if you think there should be an outside.
Yeah, well, hey, whatever works, man.
And to your question, it was an inadvertent leak yesterday by BLS, and there was a statement that they put out. BLS has alerted the Office of Management and Budget and DOL's Office of the Inspector General of the incident. BLS takes its data seriously, and security
What
obviously.
happened here? Hold on.
Level of concern you guys had after there was Wall Street firms, and a couple years after there was some suspicious trading activity. So I'm wondering what level of concern you guys have, how confident you are in the BLS leadership, and if you think there should be an outside sort of investigation.
And to your question, it was an inadvertent
had a hard time hearing what the
leak
question was.
yesterday by BLS, and there was a statement that they put
BLS,
out. BLS
Bureau
has
of Labor
alerted the Office
Statistics?
of Management and Budget and DOL's Office of the Inspector General of the incident. BLS takes its data seriously, and security obviously seriously, and is conducting a full investigation into its procedures and controls to ensure the incident is not repeated. BLS.
Oh, what do you know? Grifters got to grift, man. Grifters are grifting. That's what that says. Grifters grift. Oh, damn it! I never. Who'd have thunk it?
We have the president. We have confidence that this will get done.
Democrats steal nuh-uh.
Briefly on what we were talking about with Ukraine. The US today, the Treasury Department announced sanctions on Russian entities for facilitating weapons transfers between North Korea and Russia. Also today, the chair of the NATO Military Committee said that Russia was outstripping Western powers in increasing their defense industry capacity. How big an impact?
Yeah, that's actually true. We've started a military manufacturing boom in Russia, right? Russia is now one of the strongest economies in the world because they've shifted focus to a wartime economy.
Impact are these sanctions realistically likely to have? And is the US considering more sanctions that target the Russian defense industry more directly?
Well, starting with your last question first, I'm not going to preview sanctions. For point today, the Department of Treasury have Russia-based individuals and entities connected to the transfer of military equipment and components from the Democratic
I don't know
People's
if I can
Republic
play this
of
one.
Korea, DPRK, over the past year, targeting the Russia-DPRK military relationship, most recently in February 2024. Just a couple months ago. These
absolutely.
designations highlight our resolute opposition to these continued armed.
And as far as the 21st century goes, Russia is undefeated. Let that sink in. Russia has won every military campaign, I think, right? Right? They took Georgia. They took some other states. Ever since the 21st century, Russia I don't believe, has lost a conflict.
Transfer. We condemn Russia's veto of the UN Security Council resolution that would have extended the mandate.
That's why I've been saying my entire adult life it's time to bring Russia into the fold. But these fucking idiots, Grape Drink over here and her fucking cohorts, right, can't get it through their thick head that the best thing for America is to be friends with Russia and fucking we should all turn on China. That's how it was supposed to work. But these fucking idiots can't do anything right.
of the UN 1718 Committee Panel of Experts, a body that documented violations of UN sanctions related to the DPRK. We will continue to examine all possibilities to counter the destabilizing Russia-DPRK partnership, but I'm certainly not going to preview any sanctions from here.
Okay, and one on Israel by extension. The Houthis have threatened more actions against ships that they claim are heading for Israel, potentially even in the Mediterranean.
Russia's undefeated.
Will the U.S. continue operations against the Houthis if these attacks restart?
So look, obviously we condemn these Houthis for these attacks and continue to take action to hold them accountable. We've been pretty consistent in doing that for the past several.
Yeah, we're losing to the Houthis, right? And Russia is like grinding up Ukraine, right? We can't even beat the Houthis, right?
Months, these reckless attacks by the Iran-backed Houthis have not only disrupted global trade and commerce, but also taken the lives of international seafarers simply doing their job. So we have taken significant amount of Houthi weapons. Our military is regularly destroying Houthi missiles when they're being loaded and prepared to launch, but before they can actually be fired at commercial ships as well. We will continue to act as needed to degrade.
Why don't we just carpet bomb their fucking military installations? I mean, that's what I would do, right? I would cluster bomb their ass.
The Houthi capabilities. You have again seen us do this for the past several months, and so we are committed to doing that. Okay, Karen.
Thanks, Karine. I want to ask you about a topic that's getting a lot of attention. The Kansas City Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker, is facing criticism for his recent commencement address, where he told female graduates that the most important title a woman can hold is homemaker. He was critical about surrogacy, IVF, and Pride Month, and he also criticized the president for being...
Like, why do we even have a military if we're not going to cluster bomb our enemies? This is very disconcerting to me. Like, we should be out there making orphans.
Being a Catholic who supports abortion rights. Has the president seen those comments? Does he have a reaction to
the president's been pretty busy today, so I haven't had a chance to focus on this particular issue. I think I've heard some reports on it. Look, the president's not going to back away from supporting women and reproductive rights, reproductive health care. It is important to do that. It is important to fight for all of our freedoms, and that's what you're seeing the president do. He's not going to back away from that. And look, I can't speak to this specific thing because I haven't heard it.
I can't speak to what you're talking about, but let me just give you general bullshit, okay? The president, he works really hard the 4 hours a day, 4 days a week that he's in the office, okay? Though for those 16 hours, the president is unstoppable. Now, every other thing, every time you see him in public, every time you see him barely able to drag a fucking a beach chair across the sand, right? All of those images are taken out of context.
In its entirety.
They're deep fakes.
But look,
because you don't know the president I see every day. I can't keep up with him.
You have a former administration that had said...
The problem with the Houthis is that we're on the wrong side of that conflict. Yeah, but what's done is done, right? Yeah, we can't think about that now. We have to think about... Well, really, it's not even our problem. It's Europe's problem. We don't have very much shit that goes through there. That's not really gobbing us up, right? Fucking France should be bombing the Houthis, really.
Everything that they can to get rid of Roe v. Wade.
Germany should be bombing the Houthis.
By putting forward judges.
They need that shit.
We saw the Dobbs decision in 2022.
That's where their oil comes from, is those shipping lanes.
It caused women to have to do, to have to, be in a position.
Like Germany needs the
to
fuck
not get
out
the
of
healthcare
out of
they
that
need.
shit.
I mean, should not be where we are as a country. It should not be. And then you have.
Frank says the Houthis are orphaned fourth graders. We're losing to fourth graders. Yeah, we are.
Have extreme Republicans that continue to talk about how they want to put national abortion ban. It's causing chaos. It's causing chaos for women. It's causing chaos for families. When you're saying that a family can't make a decision on IVF, That's not what this president
Fuck
is about.
you.
He
We don't
wants
care
to-
about your goddamn-
I can't speak to those.
Your goddamn
over-
baby
only have a
murders.
right to our freedoms.
Okay?
To the comments,
Yeah.
as the president gets.
Grape drink.
Obviously, reproductive health as we're speaking right now.
Reproductive health. Okay, yeah. Like, there should be limits on abortion. We've said this before, and I'll say it again.
You can't speak to the comments,
Yeah.
but as the president gets ready to give his own commencement address, does he think a message like that is appropriate at a commencement address?
From this particular, again, I haven't heard this in context. I saw some reporting, so want to be super mindful. Look, the president sees commencement day as such for not just the students, but for their families.
I graduated.
Obviously, their loved ones, to talk about the future, to talk about how in the world that we are in now, in the world that we're in now, how do we move forward? And you'll hear themes from this president on that particular message, and he understands how critical and important, and how those messages, especially a message from the president of the United States, how much it matters. I don't want to get ahead of the president. He's going to obviously lay out and speak to his commencement address on his own, but he's done this many times before. He's done this when he's given commencement address as a senator, has done it obviously as vice president.
Did she have her
and now
tits
president.
done? No, man, that's her. She's actually, for, what is she, 48, 49 years old? She's held together quite nicely. I'll say that.
This is an incredible, important, impactful moment.
Thank you, Karine. Just now, one of your colleagues at the State Department said Israel needs to do more.
I hate her new haircut, though. I like her
prevent,
better with the big fluffy
settlers
hair, but
from
oh well.
sacking
Can't win 'em
trucks
all.
of humanitarian aid bound for Gaza. The people who are doing this sort of thing
Dude, she
are
dropped his notes.
supporters of Prime Minister Netanyahu. They're part the far right parties.
Black
are part
does
of
not
his
crack.
coalition.
Absolutely, Ash.
Is the president concerned that the Prime Minister's
Oh, I would take a long sip of that grape drink. I'm telling you.
domestic political needs could be preventing him?
I'd like to choke fuck her, but she's like a lesbian. She probably has trauma, right? I don't know, but maybe she'll like it. I'll choke fuck her and slap her around and be like, "Fuck you, bitch! Punch her titty."
From cracking down on what is essentially aiding
Give her
a
a black
famine?
eye.
So look,
She'll like it.
a couple of
She's
things
a
I do
dirty
want to give an
whore.
update on humanity.
I don't know. She's not wearing a gold cross, so there's that.
Humanitarian aid that has gone into Gaza. I think it's important. Since April 5th, more than 7,000 trucks have been moved into Gaza, so that is an update. Yesterday, nearly 250 trucks moved into Gaza, both via Kerem Shalom. So that is
Who cares?
So that is important, as you all know, in southern Gaza.
Fuck
and
Gaza.
a new crossing, Erez West,
Skip.
insufficient, and we want to continue to press Israel to increase the level of assistance moving into Gaza.
They're going to assist the Gazans in collecting their life insurance policies. Okay, let's go.
Not speak to the prime minister domestic politics. That is for him to speak to. What I can speak to is what we have been working on doing, and how much
new
we
hair makes her
understand
forehead
the
look like an
importance of
8-head.
Getting that humanitarian aid in, and that's what
A
we
64 head.
You can't speak to the Prime Minister's motivations. What I asked you as the spokesperson.
These reporters ain't taking their shit anymore, bro. They've had it. Biden's on his way out. These reporters are trying to earn their fucking reputations back, right? Right? These are the same people that were tossing her softballs for the past 2 years, but now they're fed up. You can see it.
Person for the president is the president concerned that Prime Minister Netanyahu's domestic political situation may be imperiling U.S. efforts to get more aid into
What
Gaza?
I'm saying is that we understand what I just laid out is not sufficient. We want.
You understand that what you said is not sufficient, and yet all you're going to do is repeat it. Watch. Let's watch.
To get more in. We are continuing to have those conversations with Israel.
They're having conversations,
and we've
guys.
seen some progress. We need to get more in. And so the president is committed to that, and that's what you have seen from this. That's what I will speak to. Yeah, Nadia. No, I know you have follow-ups. Go ahead.
Just want to follow up since you have updated actually on the
humanitarian
aid. As important issue is the fuel. So now the UN agency are saying that no fuel is impossible to get fuel to Gaza. And you know
Okay,
it's
the
vital
Dow
for
is
the
back up
hospitals.
for the day.
So what efforts are the White House is leading to push the Israelis to allow fuel in.
So as you know, the pier is in place, which is very important. It'll be operational in upcoming days. So that's important. And obviously the Department of Defense will have more specifics on that. And so we're confident that we're going to be able to distribute this type of aid to get that in to Gaza. And so we continue to have conversations with the UN and the Israelis and also NGOs to ensure
They're ensuring
humanitarian
it, guys.
workers are protected, and we continue
They're
to
going
get
to
that
ensure
aid in.
it.
You heard from the National Security Advisor just days ago.
We're good. We're good. I think we're good. Or something. It looks good. All right, let's go.
The aid in, and obviously we're still working
When life
on the
hands
land
you lemons,
crossings, and
make
as you just
jihad
heard,
aid.
I gave some updates on the trucks that have gone in to
DJT
a
is
new
doing
crossing
great.
that just
Awesome.
opened up, and obviously Kerem Shalom. So we are committed. This president is committed in getting that done.
Question. Yesterday I did an interview with Senator Lindsey Graham, and he said basically that a defense and security comprehensive package with Saudi Arabia, it could happen sooner than later, and he suggests that actually it
Well,
could
that's good.
happen under a democratic administration, and he's willing to help the president to deliver it.
That'd be a
So
big
long-
win for
yeah,
liberalism.
region. Can you just
Well, I
weigh
can't
this in?
confirm. I can't confirm Jake's travel, but go ahead.
All right. Well, we can confirm it.
I cannot confirm it from here. I appreciate that.
But can you whip this in and basically tell us that if the White House believes this deal could happen, later on link it obviously to what happened in Gaza and the
Well,
two
you know,
states.
we've been very consistent about our long-term goal for a more peaceful, stable, prosperous, and integrated Middle East region, and that remains a focus for us. That remains a focus for this president. That remains a focus for our U.S. foreign policy. That will always be where we stand on that, and we continue to have conversations on these issues, to include the need of a pathway to a Palestinian state, which is the only way to establish a sustainable peace between the Israelis and the Palestinian. That
The Palestinians don't want a Palestinian state unless it's all of Israel. We've been here before, Mommy.
continues to be. We've been, again, very consistent about that. Our immediate focus remains to securing the release of hostages to make sure that we also get to a ceasefire, get that humanitarian, create
What's up,
an
Champagne?
environment where we're getting more humanitarian aid in. So obviously that's our focus right now, because we understand how important it is to get those hostages home to their loved ones and to their families, to get that humanitarian aid in, and to get to a ceasefire. We want to see that. We want to get to a ceasefire. Okay, Michael.
Thanks, Karine. The governor of Florida signed a bill today that effectively erases all references to climate change in Florida law.
Good.
Do you have a response?
That's pretty shameful.
Shameful.
And, you know,
we're not even going to listen to this.
Deep Street.
so you've heard from us many times. We are urgently trying to, urgently working with the international partners in Congress to expedite the deployment of the Kenyan-led multinational security support MSS mission, as you've been hearing. We
Kenya.
contributed $300 million to that mission, and we want to bolster the Haitian police. What's going on that front, and we've also led in humanitarian assistance with over $170 million since October 2022. We understand the situation is dire in Haiti.
Wow,
we understand
$100 million for shit in our own backyard, but $1 trillion for Ukraine. Like, this doesn't even make sense.
that, and we are clear-eyed that the economic, political, and security and stability are key drivers for migrants around the world. And so obviously,
Dirty
as
mop that
you
won't
all know,
come
we've been
clean.
tracking what's going on in Haiti. So we are closely monitoring the situation and the routes frequently used by migrants to reach our borders, and would stress that at this time, irregular migration flows through the Caribbean
I still
remain
like fizzy
low.
grape drink the best.
But that said, we are always planning for contingencies, and we believe that is important as well. I can't speak to this particular incident. I have not spoken to the team about this yet. But
Bring
we
in
get
the
how
Haitians
dire
and
it
elect
is
them to
there, and
Congress.
That's why we try to move up our humanitarian assistant
Yeah,
here.
just like Elon Omar and Rashida Tlaib and all the others, AOC to a lesser extent.
leading the world in getting that humanitarian aid, and we're trying to get the MSS in place so that we can give
try
the
to get
support
this
to the Haitian
motherfucking dick
National
in place
Police
inside
in
your
dealing-
mouth.
A governing alternative. And me, saying publicly, this is something that we've known.
we behind continue to do that, to have that conversation stance at this lectern.
More broadly on the ceasefire itself, it appears to be in deadlock right now. So
Yeah, there's going to be
at
no
this point,
ceasefire. Because there's no
today.
hostages.
But we're determined
Because
to
there's
get
no
those
hostages.
hostages home. We are
right.
determined
Like one of the conditions of the ceasefires is hostages. And there are none.
to get to a ceasefire, to get more humanitarian aid in, and we have to be optimistic. We have to be hopeful here. Okay, all right.
Israel said today that additional troops will enter the Rafah area and that its operation there will intensify. Do you have a comment on that?
What I will say is that we are continuing to monitor. I'm just going to repeat.
Oh,
what
they're
Jake
monitoring
Sullivan
it, guys.
said from
Don't
this
worry.
podium. Nothing has changed since he was
Their
here.
best man is on it. Unfortunately, their best man is not even as good as Trump's worst man, Bill Barr.
On Monday, and we're continuing to monitor. We made our case very clear about a potential major.
Their best man is not even a Bill Barr.
Military operation in Rafah. We have our concerns about that. We've made that clear to our Israeli counterparts.
And
We'll
their
continue,
worst men get
to do
arrested
that.
for
What
stealing
we've
women's
been
clothes
told
out of
by
the airport.
Israelis, and what we have seen
That's
is that
how
these
low
are
their
targeted,
bar
what
is.
we're seeing in Rafah targeted operations.
Trump just
and we're
has
gonna
the
continue
Bill
to have
Barr bar.
Those we believe
The Bill Barr
constructive.
bar.
These meetings that we've had have been constructive, not just in those 2 virtual meetings, but on a daily basis. We certainly are talking with the Israeli government. All right, you have the last one.
Thank you.
But then Trump also had Mike Pompeo, who is very effective. Mike Pompeo did a very good job. Peter Navarro helped Trump understand how to use tariffs against China. That he was a good guy. He may not have been an expert, like a world-class expert, but hey, he performed like
The Deputy Director of ICE is telling us that 2 Jordanian nationals are in removal proceedings now after
our
closing
tranny
Amazon
handy.
delivery drivers to
Our
crash
handy
the gates
tranny.
at Quantico. Does the White House think this might have
Handy
been
the
a failed
trans.
terrorist attack?
So, going to be really mindful. These 2 Jordanians that you're speaking of remain in ICE custody, and given that it is an active law enforcement matter.
Oh, we
so I would
had
have
Georgian terrorists sneak into the country. Is that what they said?
Drivers to crash the gates are in
Hold on.
removal. Thank you. The Deputy Director of ICE is telling us that 2 Jordanian nationals are in removal proceedings now after posing as Amazon delivery drivers to crash the gates at Quantico. Does the White House think this might have been a failed
Holy
terrorist
shit!
attack?
Do you hear that? Jordanian terrorists crashed the gates at Quantico by pretending to be Amazon drivers. And they're still alive.
So, going to be really mindful. These 2 Jordanians that you're speaking of remain in ICE custody, and given that it is
Navarro
an active
needs to
law
be
enforcement
pardoned.
matter, so I would have to refer you
It's
to
not
ICE.
right
I
that
just
Navarro
can't
went
dive
to
into
prison.
this because again,
was a good guy.
There's a law enforcement. This is a law enforcement
That's why he's in prison.
matter.
Something totally different.
Oh gosh, where is this going?
Have you heard
Oh no.
that Vice President Harris is telling friends that she may go back to California and run for governor if the election does not go her way?
That is news to me. I would say this, the vice president has been a great partner to this president. He is appreciative of the work that she has done. It is impressive what she's been able to do on these tours that she has done on reproductive rights, her leadership on gun violence, to fight gun violence across the country, prevention, obviously, and leading.
Fuck this. Okay, we're skip. Okay. Deuce gets one more in.
And
Oh
last
gosh.
one. Why is President Biden celebrating today the Dow reaching 40,000 if his position, dating back to 2021, about the stock market is, that's not how I judge whether or not we have economic growth?
So while we have.
Oh, the Dow crossing 40,000. Let's see. I told you they would bring this up. Okay, it's still up for the day by a little bit, by 55. But we have a little over an hour. So, yeah, I have this Jordanian story. Don't worry, guys. We're going to get into it.
Long said that the stock market is not the economy, and we have said that to your point. It's clear that what we'll say is that President Biden's economic plan is working. It's growing middle class, as you hear us talk about all the time. Spurs investment in manufacturing created almost 800,000 jobs.
It's working and destroying this country,
infrastructure and outperform
which was
other
his
countries.
ultimate goal
That's
anyway.
what the president has been very focused on. Record stock market highs under President Biden are good for retirement accounts and household wealth, and that is just a fact.
Skip to the part where she shows off her new tits. Oh,
we
shit.
would never root for a stock market crash or.
Skip to the part where she shows off her new tits. I wish. Forbidenomics. Oh, that's a good one, Ronnie. That's a good one.
For Americans to lose their jobs. It's something that we would never root for from here. But obviously, but we believe that President Biden's economic plan is working. Again, growing the middle class. And I think that's a good thing. I think we should be really grateful for that, for the American people. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, what's going on? What happened? What happened? Okay, it looks like it's good. Okay. Yeah, so that was the press secretary. Forbidenomics. I love that, Ronnie. That's fucking awesome. All right, that was the press secretary. As you can see, she came out here. She lied to us. Okay, here's where we are. No, we were going to watch the video first. Okay. No, we're going to talk about this first. Okay. Now, it appears an illegal border jumper, probably a Jordanian, maybe a Palestinian, we don't know, tried to force his way onto a U.S. Marine base. Why isn't this a bigger story? In the early morning of May 3rd, two men in a box truck pulled up to the front gate of Quantico Marine Corps Base, 35 miles southwest of Washington, D.C., and tried to lie their way in, claiming they were Amazon delivery men. After skeptical military police channeled them to an area for secondary security inspection, the driver hit the gas in defiance of halt orders and tried to barrel the truck into the base's town center. Quick-thinking MPs put up road barriers that stopped the truck. The Marines ended up citing the two for trespassing on federal property. We only know this because of a report in the Potomac local news founded in 2010 to help people understand what is happening in their local communities in Northern Virginia. Yet, while the reporter, Kelly Sienkowski, who broke what happened, focuses on her local readership, she's shocked this story hasn't gotten more national attention. But Sienkowski kept pressing. She cited multiple anonymous sources who told her that one of the two individuals in the truck was a Jordanian foreign national who recently crossed the southern border into the U.S. And also that one of the people in the truck, they didn't on the U.S. terror watch list. So two terrorists tried to force their way into a military base. The big question in the room that has gone unanswered for more than a week after Sienkowski's reported the story is, of course, this one. Did illegal border crossers from the Middle East just try to attack a U.S. military base? Many more questions deserve answers too, but the federal government has gone mum. Have U.S. investigators ruled out a terrorism motive? do U.S. counterterrorism agencies even want to know? And does anyone even investigate? When and how exactly did this man enter the United States? Was the Jordanian a Palestinian Arab from Gaza and angry about U.S. support for Israel's retaliatory war? Many Palestinians hold Jordanian passports. It wouldn't be the first time. Border Patrol has encountered at least 340 immigrants on the terrorist watch list since the mass migration began 3 years ago. In at least 8 instances, because of it, the overrun Border Patrol has accidentally released watch-listed illegal border crossers and had to frantically... We back? How long was I out for, guys? I don't know. Yeah. So, I don't know how long I was out for. Apparently, Palestinian terrorists infiltrated a military base in a box truck. That's the thing. All right, now, this is fucking hilarious, and this woman is insanely attractive. I love this woman. I don't know her name, but I want to know what she tastes like. Okay, let's... I'm sorry, guys. Hopefully we can fix this. You see, I broke my new Wi-Fi card. Yeah, I broke it. I think I'm going to take it apart today and try to solder some wires into it and make it work better. Yes, Jordanian, but possibly Palestinian. Well, the thing about living inside the van is that everything is real cramped. And so I broke it while I was sleeping. I don't know exactly how I broke it, but I woke up and it was broken. I know. It's terrible. Hopefully I'm not in this van for very much longer. All right, let's rewind.
President Biden is challenging former President Donald Trump to a pair of debates.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for a debate. Now he's acting like he wants a debate.
Since then, he hasn't shown up for a debate. Well, neither of you. You won't even show up for a press conference. Donald Trump does a press conference almost every single day and answers questions.
Me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice.
Now, that's the thing. That's the thing I want to talk about, okay? Because ever since TV happened, presidents have done 3 debates, right? Joe Biden is acting like he's a big man. Like, oh, I'll even do it twice, right? Well, that's one less debate than we have gotten from every other president in history, except for during COVID, because Donald Trump was sick, right? And Biden wouldn't debate him, right? But Donald Trump wanted to do the debate. They wouldn't let him, right?
So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Well, that was a dig at Trump's hush money trial, which takes Wednesdays off. On the campaign trail, Trump has repeatedly asked Biden to debate him. The Biden team proposes one debate in June before the conventions and another in September. His team also says they want to participate in debates hosted by news organizations, not nonpartisan groups.
Yeah. That Biden will only debate on CNN and I don't know what the other one is. I'm assuming it'll be NPR, PBS, right?